Grace and peace, ladies and gentlemen. Kamo Themba Lukhele, otherwise known as Skeem GP. This is our podcast. Busy Against the Wall. Danyane Diaries. This is where we unpack all the issues, the life that affect real people. So in this way, tuna vandag gune outcoming now in studio. Kakhulu diagnosela grand indaba upbringing nokuthi ukhule kungena timer solid around when who will create a edge of fire, and also who speaks a blessing upon your life ukuthi what does it do to one. So Thapelo awuthami sispana nayo ku foundation is running the prison ministry ku Skeem GP Foundation, but ke awuthi also manje post prison awuthi umfundisi Seventh Adventist ukwathesha kakhulu ke nalela church because bamgaye opportunity makase Danyane. Yeah, sometimes but you are lost for the last and the final count, or you are out mose Danyane. So when he came back and he was vertical about the count, he decided, good, no, let me do this thing differently. So we are just going to unpack ama issues kakhulu focus kuma time afanda ukuthi what does it do for ukuthi kube nomuntu esombiza an absent father. Brother Charlie Peterson, he wrote a book growing up without a father. Brother Thapelo, Masokam. Grace and peace, my brother. Greetings and very good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Lukhele, once again. Good, we gather in this fashion, so unpacked, not because we are proud, of course, for the crimes that is perpetuated in the community, but sizobheka ama root causes that leads to those crimes. Angithi kuthiwa asikwazi ukungadila nama effects effectively unless siya kuma root cause siveze impande yalezi zinto ezilidela abantu bazithola basemajele. For instance, akekho umuntu ovukayo. Let's be honest, ovukayo adicide ukuthi nake batloba career criminal. Now I want to do this. No one in their right minds from the infancy stage you find when we grew up, we had aspirations, we had dreams, but along the way, maskula, they get hijacked by the socio-economic, by the environment, by the household in which we are born and bred, the absence of mother, the absence of father, or there are many factors as in to this thing. So thank you so much for the opportunity again, Sizo share these life experiences.
Tame Auti for allowing us into your own space. Ladies and gents, this is Against the Wall. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, follow us, and also share so that we know Uguti as in you are telling a friend to tell another friend. Uguti Skeem GP is in the house, in the building, and also Kula community Against the Wall. Very soon we've got a very profound episode that we have done with Manu Sylvester. So sivula something la on the side. I remember abanye bazithatha baziteste Nico on okwangempela. So very soon you'll know ukuthi kahle kahle what do we require from you to be able to feed on that content. Awuthiyami back in Tembisa ungithatha uyintwana encane uyazalwa. Sometimes ngithi you can't choose your parents, you can't also choose your circumstances. Uzalelwa phi, uzalwa ubani, and mawuya because of uzelwele phi, wazalelwa ubani, i-affecte kanjani lento impilo yakho ne-upbringing othingithi youth or your infant stage until ubu youth.
Yeah, well, I was born in a family of 5. I'm the third to be born. Namakhotmana 2, of which one usase Danyane naye. Uzophuma soon, very soon bengile Randbeck ngiyozama ukumsayinela to process izinto zakhe. Then we have another hotman, then nginama-sister ayi-2 angilandele emuva. Again, the mischief of growing up in that environment enzima, you know. 5 of us had different fathers. 5 of us. And I was the only one. Azanga benomdlelwane back. Not ukuthi nabo bebana that intimate relationship, but at least they knew ukuthi if ngifuna time alam ngayaphi ngiyomtholaphi. Unlike me, I didn't know where to start because normally whenever I have a conversation with old lady, this thing will raise tension. Bekangiphansa ngamaplate because my lady, time out guy. I mean, why? Because you are hanging around nabanye abantwana, you know. and sesibuya esikolweni sidlala idiski, you hear time alarm, and no matter how much you're trying to resist or uyenze ngathi awubezwa labantu, but mawuyele endlini, it affects you psychologically ukuthi i-timer liva
Question is
kahle.
bugging, yeah.
Because no one can just bond from a woman apart from a man. Men and women must come together through a procreation process.
Give life, yeah.
So ngakhula, and things were hard. I was raised in a shack. Sikhulele emkhukhwini, C5. In fact, before even we even reached umkhukhu, because umkhukhu, it was just, I think, uNkulunkulu gracing us. There was a time where we were homeless. Ne-old lady, sonke, like the little chickens running after its hen. Sihamba ne-old lady namhlanje, because umama bekakhonze sisi, so namhlanje besolala ema-dining room abantu into this house, namhlanje silala kuma-dining room. But mawusaso mntana, these things awuziboni guthi until you come to bayibiza guthi the dawn of reasoning, where your mind now starting to process. I think lapho then it's adolescent stage, 14, 15, and bengidlala idiski. So my nickname ediskini bebangibiza ngale out here seWestbury uSteven Pinar.
Yeah.
So bebanginikname bathi Pinar, mangicala ngibamba ibholo Pinar. Manje mangihlele with that crowd yalaba who are well to do, they have dreams, they are pursuing their goals and dreams, I don't identify with them, because iitori zabo nezam bona mababuyela kunama-cheese and what and Russians efrijini, mina mangibuyela ziyibhungane endlini. And so not ukuthi bebangidlalisela, but I couldn't find that identification nabo ukuthi ngirelated to bona. Then I decided ukuthi no man, awuthi ngifune laba abakhalayo njengami, those who are trapped in the same circumstances, those who are growing up within the same circumstances. Then masihleli siyazama ukukhamfatana into ezinjalo. Then it so happened ukuthi while sizama ukukhamfatana into ezinjalo, again, once you find yourself in those type of circumstances, there has to be a coping mechanism. Kumele sicope. Because drugs, alcohol, those things, they are just coping mechanism. We are trying to cope to escape reality, which is pume in whatever is beganina. So we started with bariki local yensango. But before you know it, Zol was not enough. We went to alcohol nayo sayizwi, then the mischief and all the things that led to the things indawo engizithole kuzo, it was when singena kuma-drugs. So siqale ku-heroin, which is inyawope, and sambasha sangahlanganelwe elokishini. And yeah, we were trying ukuthi sithole izinto, but the mischief, because now le habit ayisafani nensango noma ungayibhemanga, you don't have that craving, even though if we bhema kakhulu it becomes more addictive. So masibhema ama-drugs now imali yakhona siyoyithatha because asisebenzi, sihlula nemali yokudla. Now we have put ourselves into another problem ukuthi kumele siyohlanganisa nama-out. Then that's when sicala those petty crimes egazi, you know, sigcekeza ama-container wamakula, saloons, but it was a build up eyosithatha ezosisa to another dimension.
So babizwa Indians. Or they've been Indians. Hey, ngiyazi ngithi manje uvela ukuthi lamagama lawa, hey, singafa fi egama lekule. No, siyayilungisa real quick. The Indian national. Yazi while usesedane ngicela ucela into e1 because khona e1 ubhekene nami la, and ngiyambona la lokuthi eish yazini ngathi ngaloko ayibambe ngesilungu so that singasokoli kuma subtitles, you know. Yeah, we are growing our audience, and they've been patient with us, and thank you so much ladies and gents for ukuba patient nathi. We are growing as a channel, so asibambe kahle ngesigeorge, siza improvise here and there so that bafunde nabantu. Nasi is African mele basifunde bafethu, ilingwe yethu le. Lezi zinto lezi siyafuna ezinye sizikhulume kahle ngelanguage yasekazi, sibiza ispeak and forstand. Now you can carry on, leader.
Yeah, well, as I'm growing up into that type of environment, the defining moment that pushed me into now moving from a township crime to a suburb crime. One day I'm standing outside and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, where am I going and how I'm going to process everything for the day. Very avancy, and these guys, they are driving. Thapelo, have you seen your friends? Baba Troop. They are panel beating them ngale ngaseKalfontein. Come, jump into the car. We drove Those guys, they were killed in Babege Kanje, mob justice. Baba Kapa
Ebongawuza nabo.
yeah, amajita being spinner now, as we were trying.
Yeah.
So that thing is not something engizwile. I've never it's not something that someone came and told me.
Second-hand information.
You know, I had a first-hand experience. I saw those guys, they were I remember even one of them who smashed tent and look at me, but through the bloody face and everything. And I thought to myself, I don't want to die like that. We know everyone is going to die in this life, but stepping out of the world just like a dog like that, and I decided to myself, no, I don't want to continue robbing and doing crime ekas because and Mama Chapeka, they died for nothing. I mean nothing. It was 4,000 airtimes and 15 yama 20 we coatly because this was a shop yama Somalians and stuff like that. So I thought to myself, because abantu elokshini, remember when you look at society, they're doing the protest and everything, there's a lot of anger in Pagatin, there's a lot of violence simply because poverty, unemployment, those things, Labantu, when they explode, they can do unimaginable. I mean, this week I just saw the looting, and you could tell as it was happening, these guys are angry. So I went back home, then I decided, Thapelo, you know what, you need to think twice. Then I started visiting in the Westfana Nabo Peshli, Kingpin Park. I started little house breaking. I think Amagents was a Pitor, they are the tacticians when it comes to this eknyonyo beni. Hey, you are here, and you are calling Nyonyo back, Tati laptop, Uloko Kone office in maybe when Ziti Yenga. I knew about Tati laptop, we pay a roofing, we pay a young kinder, you know. So I started developing those skills, but I realize that sometimes is not a good thing. How about ungene straight bakhona? And that's when I moved into a spirit of crime until in my late 20s. Because I've been doing all these house breakings, robberies. Sometimes we will find you standing outside, maybe waiting for your girlfriend, and as figures kokot and espamo on your window. And by that time, besingaga be abo driver kahle. So tina nje stati kia ze moto siyakutshela la uzozithola khona. So that ungasilandeli. But we take your cell phone, siyakutshela ukuthi yabona masijika lapho ubheke somewhere la. That's where you're gonna drop your keys. So that then Tina, we vanish into a thin air.
I just wanted to take it slow. I'm going to take you a bit backwards. I want to understand, in terms of it timer, him being there or absent, how did that affect or accelerated yonke lento ukuthi ifike la ikhona khona? Because there's a role, ngiyacabanga ukuthi because there was a void or a gap a timer. That is why ultimately ugcine I'm not saying we are blaming Itama as being absent, but you spoke profoundly in one of your interviews about that part in Djibouti, Masi society in a community. That thing, it becomes an emotional thing, it becomes a mental thing, a financial, and ultimately Abantu, they are lost in despair.
So, Skeem, one thing that we understand, I'm a Christian, and I believe in the values and the principles the Bible. The Bible, from when you go to Genesis, it speaks about the breakdown of families. We find if ageko a space in sack. And because of that, it opened the floodgates of degradation and where we find ourselves today. So indlu engana baba or mama, it's incomplete and dysfunctional. Because ubaba, as much as he can be there for her daughter or his daughter. It's very much difficult as Lentombozani Kula to understand certain things about womanhood. Same apply as a mother. It's very difficult for her to understand certain things. Umaseng developer base, umaseng developer into zinjalo inkani. So my father not being present in my life, in coste isn't listening, even though I had some choices to make, but you can never deny the fact that it plays a huge role. Ubaba, it's very absolutely important because why? The first role model of a boy child is his father. If you can ask a child asesemncane uzokutshela ukuthi I want to be like my father, until abheke TV, influence by social media, then abona uJohn Cena, abona bani. But the first male figure endlini, it has to be a father. So mangikhula ngingaboni i-timer, and now I'm going outside. So I'm asking ukuthi, was I just dropped out of heaven just like that? Where is my dad? So I went to my mother. I even made some arguments in what oh lady, where's my dad? Okay, do you know his family? How can I start the process ukuthi ngifunane naye and get to reconnect? You understand? Because remember, as a boy child, I am carrying, or I should be carrying, name say time. You understand? And that's why, and I'm going back to the cultural understanding of Africans. That's why uthola ukuthi abantu, they are confused because they don't know who they are. I don't know who I am. I just know ukuthi I'm Thapelo. I'm having a surname yaga mama. I don't know ukuthi le surname ibuyapi. I'm not saying there's some spiritual attachment to this thing. I'm just saying it is important to know ukuthi ngvelaphi, connect that cable backwards, ubuyele utrace ukuthi oh ke motswening ke Lukhele wa gamangmang ubuyele. It's very important. Once ungazazi lezo zinto lezo, it becomes a bit confusing. So for me, in fact it developed anger, because now esikolweni I started bullying. And mind you, I bullied those ngiyazi ukuthi ama-time akhona empilweni zabo, just for knowing ukuthi une-time. Yes, while laba baphila kamnandi, sinamagama esibanikeza wona, abo cheese boy, abo wadwade, abo mananase, abo into ezinjalo. So I developed anger. I started even fighting teachers. Escalation, I will fight, ngicala ngiba corrupt. Now you can understand ukuthi, look, regardless ukuthi, angithi, there's a saying ukuthi it's not what happened to you, it's how you respond to what happened to you. I understand that, but for me it sounds philosophical, because now I balance the practicality, or maybe it moves away the responsibility at time. Ukuthi no, now I have to bear this thing and be strong. No, there are certain things perhaps bengeke ngizenzile. There are certain things I wouldn't have done if my timer was there.
What happened to this guy? Where is this guy? Yes, he was absent, but what happened to him? Is there anything that pushed him away? Because yo busho ukuthi already benit mawuqala uyisusa indaba yetime. Angithi yazwela sesigroti. Unokufuna ukulandelela ukuthi noma kuthiwa into ziyenzeka, kune-out abathi ujomo ephuza kuphi ku, bathi yili time lami. Nama ngichecka Thobuthi, ngiyabona ukuthi man, it is way possible ukuthi it could be that gentleman actually owafika wangena. It's unlike ngangilalele upastor Soli Mahlangu sisemafikeng show kakeki, and when he was singing wacula ingoma ka ethi One Love kahle kahle. So while he was singing that song wakhuluma story sakhe ukuthi mina ngiyi-product ye-rape, and I was so proud of umfundisi that day to say mfethu umfundisi speaking out like that. What ne kwangena hookah someone was selling, ultimately old lady la local busy litlinela izindlu zomlungu lewathi mayifika rape old lady, and then the man was born. I don't want to know, because Washia is seed, but a seed today, it's a blessing to the nation. Sometimes ezinye izinto ziza as a curse, but ultimately kusasa zibe a blessing. So when mawutracker, where is this man?
I've tried and I've come to the conclusion ukuthi for me it's a waste of time. If he comes back wherever he is, if he is alive, through the biblical principle I've learned to forgive. I won't forget. You can't tell me to forget corner, but I sang affect to that much because I understand the nature of life. Which such things zizoyenzeke life ini, and I just have to pick myself and never lose my mind, because I try to get him track it down where he is and why he did what he did. But one thing again, now if I may digress and jump into this thing, one thing I've realized, Guti, nami I'm confronted by situations as in Jad. Uguti, regardless of the complications and sophistications of the relationship, your child is your child. You understand that no matter what in the bushes, you have a child, goopy. Your child is your child. And what is way important is being in the life of that child. You understand? Umtana will grow up, will understand. Sometimes in a relationship, when I know mama and Zwan, because one thing engi bonile guti, I think maybe uheti oledi lami, I think I don't know. I don't have clues or anything to that. But the way umamam will react whenever I raise that topic. I could realize ukuthi naye she had some anger issues because sizoflow kahle and everything izoba right, but whenever I raise the question and ngiba emotional ne man uthola ukuthi akuna gawulo or things are tough ngifuna ibhatho or maybe I'm going to my mom ngicela ungithengele cell phone and say no, I don't have money, and I'm like, but where's my father? Because at least he can come to the picture and try to do something. So I realize ukuthi ama relationships at some point you find that there is that thing but you are incompatibility. There is that thing that you are never meant for each other, and at some point you will have to part ways because those things, they happen. Sometimes abantu kumele sibe real, but now as much as we are parting ways, there's a child here ongacelanga ukuzalwa. He never asked to be born. He wakes up in a particular family that is going through a lot. So both parties must come together and realize that each and everyone plays his own role in rearing and raising that child. The child, at least uzoyazi, growing up, no, my mother and my father, they divorced, they went through this, but my dad, there are people who talk about their dad proudly. My dad has 3 wives, but my dad was there. This is what my dad taught me. My dad will come to school, will whenever, those type of things. Ziyabonisa ukuthi as a man, you did your level best. But Tina Senzane society, you will find Amajita sitting in a corner or sitting and drinking alcohol and enjoying themselves, and they will brag about sleeping with 5 women. But a fool can make a child. You understand? Everyone can make a child, but it takes a man
to be a father.
It takes a real man. It takes a real man to be present. This is what I'm going through a lot with my own significant. But I will jump the fence. That's my daughter. You understand? That's my child. Whether I have money, I don't have money. I know the pain. Present. I know the pain. Ngiyamlanda. I go, I fetch my daughter, ngihlale naye. Nginayo leyo 5 rand. Buy amaskopas, sihlale, and we will play and be happy. Later ngimbuyisele kibo. Because why? I don't want just to talk and talk. I just want to walk the talk. And ngibe na ayazi ukuthi ubaba never had anything but my father was there. So that's the thing. Eshaya abantu abaningi ukuthi we bragging, nginomntwana lena, nalona ngimdlile, and this one. But are you present? And when you uqala raise those type of conversation, they say, don't come with your self-righteousness. Don't come, Tina, we are sinners. No, there's no justification for wrong. You can't try to rationalize. Man up. Because why? It's easy to take the underwears down and do all the positions the way you want and brag, But when the results are there, you are not there to be found. You are not there to be found. And hence, we are having a society that is angry. Namhlanje. You understand? I remember at Tembisa, I was doing a Bible study in the houses. So I visited, and they were staying in a little room. Because he thought that maybe I want to date umama wakhe, but I came with and I had to take them a shop right and get them some stuff. But lentwana like he's coming now, but because I see myself in him. The anger layer. And that's why look at those guys from, let's say from 16, 17, 18, 19, then you go to 20. Just there. Look at the things ebazenza unimaginable.
Juvenile.
Don't take them for granted. They can kill you.
No.
Like bayenza izinto is unimaginable. And people, they say, well, Amatrax. No, you are not going to the root cause. You want to blame Amatrax, blame the Nigerians. No, you failed as a parent. You have to admit that I failed as a parent. Now, she shift I blame because why? Drugs, like I said, it's a coping mechanism. For umntwana move into that space, summer drugs. What happened in him? Because if the home is breaking down. Of course, siyangaphandle, and street education, in most cases, asikho right. You will find that you are choosing wrong education. Bakutshela ukuthi no, each and everyone has a philosophy about raising a child in the street, and those philosophies are just nonsensical. Azisebenzi nje. So for me, I look back in retrospection and realize, yes, I admit I'm not justifying, I'm not blaming my father. I take fully responsibility, I could have done something better.
Yeah.
I take that responsibility, but I'm not neglecting the fact that him not being in my life, he contributed to some of the most decision engizenzi, because bengaziyenzi when I was in my right mind. I was very emotional ngenza nje kuba nale ngqondo le yemane kaka kuyafana man makufiwa kufiwe zilimazi yetsheni, you know, and once you make those decisions, you end up finding yourself in hot water. So I will advise a man, it's never too late. Yes, you might have run away from abantwana bakho. We are not here to judge. All of us are sinners, but I like what Mandela said, I'm not a saint unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. Stand up, at least mawuzwa izinto ezinjalo ukuthi no, let me go nami ngiyomfuna lo karabo lo Thabo lo since washiya umntana abantu are pregnant. At least go back. That's why sometimes utuvula ama-business, you are trying to yonke into yakho yazibuza ukuthi kanti umntana ukubambe ngenhliziyo la khona ugobile because you are not present empilweni yakhe. And now here's something, brother Lukhele, engimangazayo. How on earth, I think a man needs some therapy.
Yeah.
And I'm included. I'm not talking as outside. I think we need some psychological evaluation. Why am I saying that? A man will leave his or a biological child and go and raise a stepchild. How on earth you live in your own blood and bones and everything and go and raise umntana ongamazi? I'm not saying it's wrong to step in as a stepfather, but I'm saying at least before you become a stepfather, become a biological father. I think that's more common sense than going to raise umntana ongamazi oyenzo awazi nokuthi wenzo bani and living your own child. So I'm advising you, men, as men are pain.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thapelo. He's an author, by the way. And real quick before Skohlala, do you have a copy? No. That I'll put a copy. Then Thapelo will leave numbers. And I'm sure most of you guys are interested, man, to say, son, this guy, he speaks, uncomfortable truth. But in the end, we must call each other out. Men, we must just man up. That's along with the short story. We all have our own weaknesses. Our flesh is weak. Isn't those we're dealing with a lot. Social media bati guning. But in the end, you must go back to the crime scene. And then move from there backwards, just to make sure that at least you live and lead an honest life. Mr. T, so you're going Danyane now. What actually gave birth to a man that we see today in studio? So that a conversation is in a direction again, because already so kulumile. No umuntu says, if this man is so intelligent and he speaks, so eloquently, then what could have been the problem? Because the working corner, it cannot just be the father, but we just understand the nature of the crime. I know good Gwangenema hostel as more towards in the judge. What happened there?
Like I said, we started a Lokshini, the petty crimes, the housebreaking. I end up becoming a scoutara because at some point I did live in the streets, especially Itata Zejobek. I understand abo Emarenshia, Green City, because in police interest in Lapaya. So there will be a time when I was going to smoke a Hill Pro and I will meet a machitoke I could tell Laba Yikebing. Because I couldn't pull a house robbery by myself. I didn't have a gun. I didn't have all the necessary tools that were needed for me to commit such crimes. So we went there, brother Lukhele. Okay, I went there for 3 months. In fact, not for 3 months. It's not like a time frame or duration. Okay, you must watch this house. I've been watching it for some time. I was just waiting for some guys bavele bati unespani. Then I will say, yeah, Spanish corner. Then vele, the Lord provided, not the Lord, but the devil, by the way. The Lord is not involved in our mischief. The devil, but sometimes I need to, the Ikebeng will pray and you will think
Even
their
before
prayers
seeing.
are going up,
Yeah.
but no, God is not involved in our mischief. So we went, and I won't forget, because I've been to crimes. I've been to a moto in Skichimis Mapoisa, gunshots being exchanged. But that one was one of those, like, especially in my early 20s. It looked like, it left an indelible print in my mind. That's why I have vowed to, no matter how life it gets, no matter how broken I become, I'm not going back to prison. Because it was for the first time in your Valelu Skati seat. Siafika and C5, we go over the wall. I am leading, and those guys were older than me. Some were even twice older than me. The way I was just a young person, okipe duty. Then we arrived there. All right, I pulled the keys, we open, and I suspect Gucci. The maid was there because we could see the laundry was being done into Zinjalo, and we went. Okay, two guys went to upstairs because when we entered the house, that now mentality yokunokana now, Guti sonke, we rushed to the bedroom now, the diamonds and the rings, and when you are trying now to be a leader, hey guys, whoa, wait, as is over first sec, plus you know those guys, Umfana omncane wena, and sorry for swearing in vulgar language, but I'm just trying to be authentic as I can be, and when we arrive, Sangena, those guys mabafika phezulu, there was a struggle up there. I cannot imagine or try to find ways to articulate actually what took place up there. Because when I went up there, it was just a pool of blood. And a white man in his short, he was relaxing. The sunglasses were there. Those chairs, I guess everybody beatang, when you are relaxing next to your jacuzzi. And I'm like, guys, I could see this guy Yambona is lying there lifeless. And I'm like, hey. Like my mind couldn't comprehend nor process what I was saying. Then I decided to say, no, you know what? Go down, khepsa noma yini manje. Like, is pity uhlangana nalo uphuma ngapha uphethe ibhek yakhe. And uyabona ukuthi la, even if we reach home, akunakuthi yonke into yobeka etafuleni kusherwe. Like you can tell by the nature of how things are going on endlini ukuthi la umazibonela la. So I heard cars parking outside. Gee. Then I went downstairs, peeped through the window. How? 24/7. 24/7. You know the 24/7 tacticals.
Security.
And you see they are jumping there. Also, I didn't alert the guys who Majita go mans. There was a study table, makeable laptop in ngatai. Nalama laptop azong pazamisa. I just took the wallet and put it in my pocket. I went over the wall behind but in the back opposite. Back opposite, there was a garden boy. So I had to play hide and seek emaplomin, magazangapa. And you don't have to breathe fast. You just have to, like, nomsuza, like you don't do anything because this guy is here. And ngihamba ngamaplomo until asuka ngazi ukuthi bekayaphi on that other side. Then I managed to jump and I was now free in the road. But now again, you could hear all the sirens and everything, and I know good is So when I was approximately 500 meters away from the crime scene, I heard gunshots. But I know good I suspected is Kala Lapaya, but my focus is to reach the main road lang Tolamatics where Josie Con. So the wallet the way I was so afraid, I was like, Ukwabona, and that's dangerous because now I was not myself. So I have to act Macvela because sometimes nama ADT I2, but they were not going there. They were just patrolling. And but in my mind, I'm like, maybe they know. Maybe Sebazwil. And you have to act. And so when I went back to the crime scene, Sebang Bambila, I had to go to the two guys because two guys were killed in the crime scene. Those besposhonabo abai two baba tubulile. Then law lababai two laba futhi yibo laba bebase upstairs, like they were busy searching thoroughly the main bedroom. Yibo laba babathole banamagazi into ezinjalo bebaphethe nesibhamu. And yibo laba bashilo ukuthi no besi5 okay 2 is dead, where's the other one? The other one asazi shukuthi ubalekile, a car was dispatched ukuthi bayongifuna. Ngiyayibona le DJ iyavela le ekhonini. Yavela izithelile. I'm like Thapelo, be normal, you know, as Trevor Noah said, just be yourself. Relax. Ifika ibrika la and mawuthi abo fantonder. Yeah, amabhunu amampela, those guys baphume emotweni and bakhipha ibhamu and say yes, lie, lay iso, lay ngalala, bangisearch efikeni, then they put the cable tires inside the car. So when I'm inside the car, I'm just acting shocked. What happened?
What's happening? Yeah.
You know? So lamabhunu they keep on saying, hey, Blaisdell. No, what khanan meneer? Yabona labantu ngiyababuza ngithi hey man, who are these guys? Kwenzakalani? But hey, ngiyabona ngibuyisele crime scene as we entered. 2 of my friends futhi akusabangani mama, I don't know these guys, just iskiphi duty nje, bavalwe ngamafoil laphayana and uyabona yini pathologic what those cars amamochari ziyafika ziyabathwala laphaya, and now it's surreal. Now you are like, look, Axi 1, 2, 3 act. You know, this is really it's life, unfolding, man. And in my mind, I went from that crime scene and saying, you will never see the light of day.
Yes, son.
That's it. That's how I was so afraid. I'm going to prison.
Like Shubile, in short, yeah.
Then, okay, we went outside, we talked and baskandi. So while we were in the car, what I did, mina, so I managed to put my hand in the pocket, ngakhipha beyine 2000 ngayithi la emasendeni ngalahla le wallet nalama card. Sangena. Like there was a potential opportunity for me ukuthi bangiyeke.
Yeah.
So I go back home. Because it was a conflicting scenario. These guys base hostel eseDube.
Yeah.
I'm from Tembisa. They are older than me. Now ngifuna ukubonisa ama-fact asupporta mina more than bona. They are older than me. Nothing ties me to the crime scene. I'm clean, there's no blood, there's nothing. Ngizigqokela ama-overall blue. I'm looking for job and I can speak. I can prat Afrikaans, ngiyazikhulumela. Angihlaliswanga nangale emaselini. Ngihlele e-reception but phakathi. Angithi uyabona e-reception, not ngapha. Uyabona ukuthi ungaboshwa. You know, they can put handcuffs anytime. So masihleli, angazi le bhunu beliyenzani emotweni. And these guys baba sechile thoroughly uthola le wallet. Now uyabona, we can say what amabhunu ahlakaniphile. Mabhunu, you know, those guys, they are very, very, very wise. This guy, I think, maybe he took a deep breath emotweni and start to process everything. Abona ukuthi hayi uyasijwayela lo. So he came back. Makabuya manje, you know, I learned ukuthi there's a saver Afrikaans and there's a Afrikaans yaselokishini. Yes, eldos. Because makabuya uyamuza, hey, fucking light it. Angisezwa nokuthi uthini. Yabona makangena and mabangena bayi-2 because utshela lo, he's convincing this one ukuthi man lo muntu lo yasijwayela. Mangibuya hey komiso abona senyagugu nalabo sisi bese ngiyenzelwe netiye reception, like bangizwela nobuhlungu. Now bamangalana amabhunu bangithatha bangifaka kwelinye isele ngale. Hey, kwashuba. They started beating me, bangibuza le wallet uyithathephi. Then my problem was to admitting ukuthi no, i-wallet ngiyidobhile. Now that was a confusion for them. How do you connect me to the crime scene? I have a wallet of a deceased person 800 meters away from the crime scene, and I'm not connected in any way to these guys. So it's a conflicting, but amabhunu bathi hayi khandivari brat. Ang black sema ngivume ngithi ngidobhile sinini, like mabakushaya bangikhamile ngizwa ngathi umoya uyaphela ngithi benginabo, mabangiyeka ngithi hayi ngithi ngiyangishaya. That's why ngithi benginabo benganabo. Then we got arrested. The guys wanted to poison me in prison because of
but before speaking prison, iza kahle ngifuna ukunderstand le process yase-off.
Yeah, I'm going there.
Yeah.
Guthi angithi the reason why ngithi they wanted to poison me at prison. Now we are attending a court case.
Trial.
So I'm a juvenile. And they are adults. And now bayenza lento le bengiqala ukuyibona life in but is separation of trial. But it's the same case. As attending a day one, ngivela ngiyi-one, and a prison I was protected kakhulu because they knew ukuthi lo mfana lo, because those guys they are Zulus and bebazama ngesikhathini esiningi because kunenye out and ngiyayibona nayo la eSoweto ayingiboni mara ngiyayibona yona. I think bebayithenga ukuthi because umuntu you will call me angilethele into ezimnandi angikwazi bra and angisingi ingane yakho like prison but kwabona umuntu akunika bogwayi akunika insangu mfowethu so ngizibuza ukuthi why but now because of I was very much conscious yonke into like even if I want to buy something in prison I will give someone you understand ongazi ukuthi lo ngiyamthemba and he knows my story bengafuni ukuthi kuye mina. So ehofu masiloko siyattenda they started now digging deep into my life. Ngibuyaphi they involve inikro. They involved in Nico. There was some social workers came while I was awaiting trial, and bakhuluma nami. Well, ngiyaliphika icala. No. Because someone temanga vumalana, there's a possibility that you can be sentenced to 25 years. I'm like, no. I'm not angilvumi. I don't plead guilty. Then I was found guilty and sentenced to 15 years in prison. So while in prison, that's how it happens. Awful. Bengilokhu ngathenda, and one of the things, it's so, I don't know how to put this because ngisayindlula leyo ndlu leyo lapha eParkview, and the very same car. Lo mama akasangiboni because now she's a bit old. Umfazi wa this diseased person, and sometimes nginokufila ngathi ngingakokota and say, hey mama man, we are very sorry about what happened. But now coming alone there, she can't even take me back to prison. Ukuthi nangu uzongi-intimidate. You know how white people are. But I'm saying ukuthi seeing them there, and is not, I have too much remorse to take someone who was a father. Regardless, because you must be a father first, whether you are a father biologically by being there before your roles and responsibilities. And
sorry, just to chip in. Lo muntu lo, was he a professional?
Yes.
Or he was just
yes. Angithi, remember how we found out ukuthi he was a judge presiding at Palm Ridge. And that's where we started. Now, how emotional it was. They had to remove us from Palm Ridge to Pritchard. Simply because now the emotions it was invoking a Palm Ridge High Court. So they had to take us back. Like for the first time, I was this top-notch criminal young person with short steps and I'm like, abantu, they see you up there, they think, oh, he's skipping a school. I'm like, no, bra, angibulalanga nokubulala la. You understand? I was just part and parcel. Yimi initiated this nature of crime. Well, I know Guti psychologically and philosophically, I am the worst one, the mastermind.
According to the courts, ukhuluma ngokuthi mawukhuphuka kancane wena wabona a pool of blood. What happened? Masoyiza nje in short.
They stabbed this guy, I think 24, 27 times. Angisakhumbuli kahle. Yeah, they stabbed this guy because of, remember, I told them, in a crime scene, especially in a suburb, we don't pull a trigger simply because it will alert the neighbors and the surrounding tactical arm response. So the guy tried to fight with them, and there was a bit of a struggle. They stabbed him 24, 27 holes. I'm not quite too sure very well. And he died right then and there in a crime scene. And it was one of those brutal crimes, brutal.
Yeah.
Because I remember even the
degree
prosecutor was
murder.
saying, this is what, but they have the jargon for it, about first degree
Yeah.
murder,
Yeah.
like the nature of the crime,
Okay.
it invoked
Aggravative circumstances.
yeah, into ezinjalo. It was
Utolika uthini manigwetsha mawuza ukuthi okay sesigwetshiwe.
no, but angithi mina ngazigwetshelwa ngiyi-one.
Yeah.
Remember me, kahle, they wanted to give me a suspended sentence.
Yeah.
Because they, there was that thing within the court. They felt, because they have a background from Nikro. There was a social worker, Zile. He went Kaya, interviewed my mother, the background where I was. Now, when mababuza angena isikolo ayikho into engiyenzayo nje elokishini, so the magistrate makakhuluma ukuthi no kuyafana lo uyaphi wenzani. Now let's take him to prison. There's at least free education, there's everything in prison azoyithola kahle than just letting him go after they have committed the nature of such a nature of crime. So it happened that Makaskweb, of course, Itoliki, she was so beautiful, I'm a razor cut. Because angithi Africans by then, the savior Africans, le amabhunu angizwanga kahle, because labantu laba, before they even sentence you, they sentence you in a paper qala.
Yeah.
They write, you are there when. Yena sekagwebile. Then now he has to take it on record now.
Yeah.
And asho ukuthi da manje angimuzwanga, but the look of the court, mabajikisa amehlo kuwe, and I'm like manje, no, you are shocked and puzzled ukuthi okay. Then the translator athi sekunjalo bhuti 15 years ngaphakathi, like
Uyilevela
no, yeah, uyilevela yala. And in my mind, Skeem, in my mind, I'm thinking abanthusa, like they will call me back. Now as I'm going down the stairs, remember, before they called me first, because that day that court was not playing. It was giving people their own things. Before me, there was a Nigerian guy who was arrested for rhino poaching. He got 35. Wayehla. Kwakhuphuka mina, mangikhuphuka nami 15. So mangiyehla, imagine nje early around 12 nje sekuphume 50 years. So when I went down, so I'm saying, okay, I knew Gucci well. I'm born and bred in poverty. They couldn't even come to at least attend my court case, my family, my mother. Let alone they couldn't even buy themselves food. So I'm saying, okay, that's it. My mother, every time I figure prison, I will try to call and inform her, Mama, this is the proceedings, the case. Then it happened, Skeem,
this time around.
I went down and say, okay, I asked this Nigerian, and the only thing that made this Nigerian to make me make a phone call because I was sentenced. So I'm in his shoes, even though it's 35 and 15. It's not like I'm going outside the back. So he can see Uche-san, now we are going. And he's asking me about prison. I have to help him inform, in prison, XYZ. So I'm saying, okay, let me make a phone call. Phone. Then I call direct to Mama Ibambe. And, the tone was so low. I'm saying, hey, Mama, I love to say this in my Tswana language because it invoked those emotions. And I'm like, Mama, ke Thapelo, go tsamayang. Then I'm like, there was that again pause. The pregnant pause. And I'm like, Mama, bangwebile 15 years. I think that exacerbated and increased her sickness. You understand? Because now she's dead. Because she said, no, she didn't say anything. There was that pause.
Silence.
That silence. And in Nami now tears are starting to flow. Because it took me back in time where we come from, how we were raised, the time of being homeless. And now here is our life turning out this way. Thapelo, the brilliant young person who had dreams and goals to become a soccer player. He wind up now in prison. Then she said this, "Ke kgale ke bua le wena.
Eish.
Kgale ke bua le wena, Thapelo. Yes, ke le godisitse ke sokola. Things were difficult, things were hard. But this is not the way I taught you. Hailin, you know, arena le dijo gone yaanong. Coming to prison, it's another story. Go siame." I saw her after 6 years when I was released in prison. No one, I didn't even have a
Azange
visit.
visit already?
No, Mina,
Yeah.
the only people who visited me, it was when I started going to church. The Seventh-day Adventist people there. And nakona beseng that mental toughness, beseng strong in faith. But ite mangfika ejele, alright, beng nomsomi, wabafowethu. Like I came the anger. Now you can see how I
Yeah, sesirepa nje vele because ngifuna ukuya nedaba ukuthi le ndaba yakho yobu 26 ukece Danyane. And
So in cutting the story short, teacher, I have this thing. I've been in and out of prison, but now juvenile centers, ufaka izinto
Thathe
understand kahle. Then now you are coming here and we are bona ukuthi lana, if you are not pulling your face and utuzitshela ukuthi ngibathafu, uyabona la ngizobhayiziseka. And it's not like uzobhayiziseka for a short space of time. This now melwe intaha. And I'm like, no, I can't just live that life ngizothusela ile ntwana. Ngiyazazi nami ukuthi ngigcwele ebhrukini lami and I can't allow these guys. So mangifika i-anger ye-poverty, i-anger of being homeless, i-anger ye-absence of father, i-anger of not going to school, and now i-anger yama-regrets, ama-bad choices, i-anger now yale life that now I'm being ushered to. You know how prison life is. Now I have to, prison, each and every dog hustle for its own bone. Prison, I hear people, they say it's a 5-star hotel. I wish, I pray, Kaiwane fella, go and sleep there. Just one, and come back and we will give you a platform here on this podcast and tell us whether it's a 5-star or not. One, in fact, I can recommend one of the 5-star hotel prison, Boxback prison. Go there and come back.
see Valile, you'll get the numbers, you'll find the numbers right on the down on the straps. This is Themba Lukhele, formerly known as Skeem. Until we meet or we talk friendly again, I'll see you next time.